Hello. The next series of videos you will watch, I will be posting on Thursdays. I'm going to be calling it Throwback Thursday. And these are videos that I had originally posted for instructional purposes on my old YouTube channel. They did decently well, especially for somebody who wasn't maintaining a YouTube channel at the time. I hope you enjoy. Hello class, welcome to part 2 of our constructing quadrilaterals video. In this we're going to talk about constructing a kite to start off with, and then we're going to talk about all three trapezoids that were discussed in our vocabulary, being trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid, and right trapezoid. Okay, so kite to begin with. Remember kites, if I just go ahead and sketch it out really quickly for you, this doesn't count as a construction. They generally have those two sides are congruent, and then these two sides are generally a little longer, and they're also congruent. So that's something we want to look for. We want pairs of consecutive congruent sides. So how I always like to start is I like to start with one side. I'll construct my own length. Again, you can construct it to whatever length you want. And then I will construct a second side. I'll make it a little bit longer. I'm actually going to call this C. So ABC. And what we basically want to do, it's similar to rhombus in that we want to copy these lengths. So I'm going to set my compass to length AB, and then centered at A, I'm going to draw a big old arc. Okay? Because think about it, we want the other intersection point, based on the sketch I drew earlier, to be somewhere in this area. And then I'm going to center it at C, set it to length BC, and I'm going to draw another arc until I get that intersection. And there's my point right there. I actually thought it was going to be more up here, but I did say at the beginning of the year that I need practice with estimations. And we'll call that point D, and then once we get our segments connected, we're done. I like that one because, like rhombus, this was a technique I kind of devised on my own, so I'm kind of proud of it. But there's no need for a standing ovation. I'm just a regular human being. Alright, trapezoid. I gave a hint at the last video that we're going to need to work on our parallel lines construction because we needed it for parallelogram. We also need it for trapezoid. We need two sets of parallel lines. For parallelogram, we still need one set of parallel lines for a trapezoid. So I'm going to go ahead and start by drawing my big long line and then an intersecting line. I'll go ahead and draw my point A right here and point X up here. Alright. So I'll center it at A, set it to any length, and draw an arc to get those 2 points B and C. Okay, and we'll go ahead and copy that arc from X. Remember in our parallelogram it didn't quite come out parallel, but you guys were willing to forgive me for that, and I'm appreciative of it. Point Y, and then I go ahead and set my compass to length BC. Make sure I get it exactly. Centered at Y. Oh, I messed up my length. That's okay. It happens. Oh, I'm just all sorts of clumsy in this one, aren't I? And then draw it to get that intersection. Now, here's the trick. We get point Z with that. I'm going to go ahead and draw a big old intersecting line. And that looks a lot more parallel. With parallelogram, we just copied these 2 points, or constructed a line segment between these 2 points, because I want it to be the same length as here. Well, that's true. I want it, but if we think about a trapezoid, we have a line that's going to fall somewhere over here. And I'll pick out a point that's obvious, because I don't want it to look like an isosceles trapezoid yet, so I'll just pick out a point that's obvious, and it's going to be way out here. And we can see we have a trapezoid. Now, isosceles trapezoid is nice because it follows the same instructions. We start by constructing parallel lines. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, still all kinds of clumsy. I apologize. Draw my line segment, or line rather. Again, however you want to describe it. My intersecting line. I put my vertex A there, and my vertex X there. Center my compass to A. Any length I want, again, not too big. B and C. And then copy that length up here. Or I should say copy that arc up here. Alright. So Y. And then we set our compasses to length B and C. And I will go ahead and center it at Y. Uh-oh, my compass moved. There we go. And get my parallel lines. There we go. And those also look quite parallel. Now, once again, when it was parallelogram, it was just connect these 2 points. When it was trapezoid, we put it somewhere out here. We want to copy this length from point Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my compass to length XA, just like that. And I'm going to center it at Z. And you can see if I construct an arc, it's going to go through C. Well, that's proof that those segments are constructed equally, but I want it to come out over here somewhere. So I'm going to extend the arc to be right here. And we'll call that W. And now we have this segment and this segment, which will be congruent to get me an isosceles trapezoid. Final construction, a right trapezoid. You can probably guess that we're going to need to construct parallel lines. But since we've got right angles in this, we're going to need to be able to construct perpendicular lines as well. So I'm going to go ahead and construct an initial line, same way I always do with parallel lines, but I am not going to draw an intersecting one. Remember, I said you could guess 90 in previous examples, but we need it to be exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my point not on a line right there. I'll call that A. And I'm going to go ahead and construct a line, as we've done many times before, through that point that's perpendicular. So set it to any length. And we get those 2 points right there. And we will go ahead and get the perpendicular bisector of that line. So more than halfway above. There we go. And now that I've got my point, I'm going to extend the line through. So I know that this is a right angle because I constructed it to be so. And we'll call this X. So I'm going to create a parallel line through that. Now, if I wanted to keep an open mind, I could construct a perpendicular line to X right there. If you want to go ahead and do that, you can go right ahead. I'm going to practice parallel lines though, because I think that's important, given all the other instructions that it's important for. So set my compass at A, any length I want. I'm going to set it to a different length so I'm not confusing arcs. I get that right there and that right there. So I get B and C. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing for X. And then I'll go ahead and set my compass to length BC. That's Y, by the way. Get parallel lines. And once again, looks pretty parallel. I'm kind of proud of that. And then, as with the trapezoid, with right trapezoid, let's just set a point out here somewhere. I'm actually going to use this point because I see it's readily available, not drawing extra points on my sheet. And I will actually, not from X, but from Z, copy that over, and I have myself a right trapezoid. Thank you for watching.